Hey guys, just got kind of a public service warning here for cold weather driving with a Tesla, especially if you're a new owner with a new Model 3 or something. Right now it's 31 degrees out and we're getting some snow that's not sticking around too much, so it's making the road wet. And I just want to point out how much extra energy that driving through precipitation, particularly snow that's collecting on the ground, will do. Normally, when I'm driving this stretch at the speed I'm going, which is I'm kind of averaging around 25 miles per hour, which is an extremely efficient, or optimal, I should say, speed for hypermiling. And I am using 382 watt hours per mile, averaging anyway, over the last 5 miles. I should be, like in ideal conditions, warm weather, no rain or anything like that, I should be probably in the low 200s. So if you're not familiar with the units or whatever, that doesn't really matter. The point is you use way more energy for a given distance in these kind of conditions for a number of factors. One is the cold, but actually more important than that is the precipitation on the ground. So you don't get as much regen back, so you're not recharging as much, and it's also, the ground is stickier, so you don't roll as far for the same amount of energy used. And that's particularly true with snow on the ground. That really sucks up your battery. Also, windshield wipers. I learned from one cannonballer who had done a cross-country cannonball trip with a Tesla that it's actually surprising how much electricity or energy that the wipers use, especially if you have them on high, something like that. So of course use them, you need to be able to see, but if you're trying to look for things to cut down on energy, that's one thing. Another thing is using chill mode as well as range mode, keeping your tires at the appropriate pressure, although that's a little controversial as whether low tire pressure wastes energy or not. And I also have snow tires on, which I believe in for traction, but they also use, by my calculations, about 6, maybe 7% additional energy. So anyway, yeah, there's some tips. The bottom line for all that is make sure your car is charged adequately. If you're on a trip and you're using superchargers, make sure you have at least 20% buffer. I would suggest, if you have a smaller battery, I would say more than 20%. If you have a larger battery, like a 100D or something like that, maybe a 90, you can probably get away with the 20% buffer, because 20% of a bigger battery is a bigger buffer than 20% of a smaller battery. I'm currently in a 70D, so if I was going on a long trip, I would basically count on the trip planner being slightly wrong and underestimating how much, and I would always want to make sure I have at least 20 percentage points more to get to my destination. So anyway, this is all just to help somebody. Maybe it will help prevent somebody from running out of juice a little bit prematurely. If you've got a new Model 3 and that's the long range edition, in this kind of weather you're probably looking at a 200 mile range, even though it's rated at 300 miles, and then of course that would be less for the mid-range one. So anyway, yeah, charge up.